So if you're going to play an up-tempo game, you know, lots of clash in the river area, then Karthus is just a nice pick to be able to take towards that. It does, however, have to be coupled with very secure lanes because obviously it doesn't have the best gank assist until level 6. So interested to see whether that is going to be a pick for Gadget, you know, try and shut down the bottom lane of the Flash Wolves, or whether it can be flexed around.
We will have to wait and see. The Tahm Kench will be the second lock for Vega Squadron. That will go down towards Santos in the bottom lane.
And it makes a lot of sense to me, right? Because if you're worried about the solo laners, let's get some globals in our comp. Let's get a Karthus ult to maybe shut down Hanabi. Let's get the Tahm Kench ultimate to be able to assist through that 1-3-1, play through that mid lane area. So I think that right now, Vega look very prepared for the Flash Wolves lineup. And that's always a question of the play-ins, right? You've played against your group. How prepared are you for your best of 5? Well, it looks like right now, Vega well and truly up to the task.
Definitely seems like it. And of course, it helps that Vega's traditional playstyle deals with those side laners pretty well as well. You know, you want to shut down Hanabi, you want to shut down Rather, and it looks like Flash Wolves are going to play for a little bit of safety towards the bottom lane. It's the Ezreal as the pick for Betty.
And this is what we expect to see out of Betty. We expect him to be on a team fight champion. If he's able to 1v2 his lane, even better. Let's, you know, unlock ShiauC, get him onto the map nice and early, setting up dragons. This is a team that loves the 7-minute dragon, the 10-minute Rift Herald, the, you know, break out of the laning phase. And, you know, Ezreal, one of the best AD carries at just parking in mid lane and not being able to rotate around the map. And, you know, Bugi picking up Rek'Sai, also no surprise. They want to have some early game power. They want to be able to go at this Vega Squadron lineup and take fights early.
Yeah, that's what we always see from Flash Wolves. Early skirmishes, you're looking at the 7-15-minute mark. That's where they start to go for those aggressive plays. Vega will lock in their jungler here in the form of the Sejuani, good CC threat, and a strong tanky frontline for the Vega Squadron lineup.
And this is the first champion that an AHaHaCiK has played a second game of at MSI play-ins. He's been playing very unique picks so far, you know, willing to pick up things like the Hecarim, had the Kindred and the Kha'Zix games as well, but a little bit more of late game insurance scaling here, lends towards the team fight. This right now means that if I was the Flash Wolves lineup, I'm starting to think about, you know, Akali, Aurelia, and Jace. Which of the solo lanes do I want to get rid of that partner so well with Sejuani? You know, take away some of the early game potency she can have and relegate her towards that late game farming jungler.
And especially since Vega Squadron have first pick after this ban phase, getting rid of those powerful flex picks is important. There's the Jace being banned away. Flash Wolves would have liked it on their side, but they have to get it away from Vega Squadron. Vega removed the Akali themselves.
And that's a great point. If they do take away the Aurelia from their self, all of a sudden, this mixed damage 1-3-1 kind of falls down, and you're already dealing with, you know, a tanky frontline. Potentially, Boss can go towards something like the Hecarim as well and really beef up that frontline, which means that you would like to have the mixed damage on the top side of the map.
Right, the Cannon is the second ban coming out from the Vega Squadron. I have seen Hanabi play that 4 times in the regular season, 100% win rate on that pick as well. So no surprises to see that removed. Flash Wolves do have a couple of options here. We've talked about the Aurelia. They could look for, you know, another powerful mid lane ban.
The only other thing I can think that they would do is just remove something like the Nico or the Heimerdinger if they didn't want to play against it. Varus is actually quite interesting to me. Does have a good matchup into Ezreal, but you would expect them to be used to playing against the standard. Maybe they're trying to force Gadget away to some cheese.
Yeah, that's the thing though, because you already have the Karthus locked in, and we know Gadget loves to play that. So Flash Wolves are saying, well, we're kind of hedging our bets a little bit here. Because of the flexibility from the Vega Squadron draft, you can't be sure that that Karthus is going down towards the bottom lane.
Hold the thought for a second. Okay, it is going to be an Aatrox. I saw the Renekton flashed, and talk about gank assist coming into a Sejuani lane. You know, the try-auto attack, immediately applying that stun proc. But in saying that, a very nice lane right now set up in the top lane for Boss against Hanabi. If that is going to be a Sylas top, I would expect it to be the case. Hanabi does take a lot of resources for his team, does pay it back in pressure, if not in outright damage for the squad. And I think that this does set Boss and an AHaHaCiK up for some success in camping out that top lane.
It will also be only the second Aatrox we have seen at the tournament. I believe it lost last time, was played by Mimic in the Bombers versus Fenerbahce match. So expect Boss to have maybe a little bit more agency on that. The next pick coming out from Flash Wolves, the Galio, that's going down towards the support, gives you a bit more map pressure. And there's the GangPlank last, so it is an AD threat coming out from Flash Wolves.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've seen GangPlank played by Impact in the last series and certainly had a good performance being able to outplay some of the ganks, but it's that trough that I'm worried about. We've spoken how active Flash Wolves want to be on Summoner's Rift. Well, now you've got an Ezreal, you know, has to come online. You've got a GangPlank, once again, more in that scaling basket. Can you really look for those 7 to 15 minute team fights when you are playing the scaling game? big question marks around the Flash Wolves comp compared to how they play domestically.
I love this from Gadget, though. It says the Karthus was a flex all along. We're going to take Vayne down towards the bottom lane. Karthus goes, you would expect, towards mid. Of course, could go towards the top lane, but Boss at the moment is on that Aatrox pick.
Yeah, and whilst I don't hate the Karthus mid lane, I do think that it is a risk into Rather, because giving him now a global ultimate to be able to have such easy access to, right? Doesn't have to try and find the jungle. It doesn't have to take a trip down bottom lane if you wanted to play around Hanabi. Instead, just going to be parked out in that mid lane. Does mean that the early game fights become a little bit easier again. You've got a Rek'Sai, you've got an early Karthus ult coming out of your mid laner who's going to be stacking up that AP. In fact, they might have just changed it.
Is that going to be Vayne mid for Nomanz? It is a possibility. We're past the 20-second mark, so Vayne's mid is going to be picked up. Now, Nomanz has played this in the regular season. He has 100% win rate, has played it once in the regular split. I remember it being a super-duper pocket pick, but I really didn't think they'd crack it out on the stage. Vayne into Sylas. That is a matchup we will have to break down when we get on into the game.
And not only Vayne into Sylas Rek'Sai. So much CC coming out of there. Pre-level 6, there is a target on that mid laner's back. He's saying, come at me, and we'll see whether he can play around it.
We'll have to keep our eyes open. Mid lane is the place to be, it looks like, as Flash Wolves take on Vega for a position in the MSI main stage. Flash Wolves have been to MSI 3 times before this, have never missed a semi-final at MSI. Never mind group stage, they always make it out of that round robin and get towards the semi-finals. And I'm sure all of their fans at home will be hoping this year is no aberration.
Especially given the changes that have gone through for the Flash Wolves. As a team, completely rebuilt, 3 new members, new coach, new expectations for the LMS region. Excited to see whether they can, continue to climb into that glory of the semi-finals. It's going to be a tough task, however, as I feel like this MSI is quite stacked.
It's incredibly stacked, and Vega Squadron trying to show that they are here to party. Of course, it was Flash Wolves that knocked out Gambit last year, taking them down 3-0. And it's kind of been a few years before, since we have seen the rise of the Commonwealth of Independent States. I'm looking back to Albus Nox Luna days, Gambit Gaming days, when they were really at their peak. Sure, Vega Squadron will want to show in their first international tournament that they can challenge those old names.
Especially considering the fact that they went through some of those legendary players to have their MSI berth. This is a team that, did drop 4 games during the regular season. Didn't look shaky by any means, but were not the favorites coming in, analysts betting against them. But able to prove people wrong, came into Group B, big expectations, and absolutely crushed it.
They absolutely destroyed their group. Now let's get on into the action, because there's so many unique and interesting picks here for me, Spawn. We talked a little bit about how Flash Wolves have this 1-3-1 composition, but what are Vega Squadron looking to do? And
that's what I was going to say. They also have a very good 1-3-1 comp for themselves, because if you get Vayne towards 2 items and a QSS, one of the best duelers in the game, you throw on, the Tahm Kench ultimate to be able to navigate around the map, a good global there from the Karthus as well. This is certainly a potent setup. They can go towards 6 teleports in this game, Medic, as well as a ton of global ultimates. Expect for there to be fireworks early.
I'm looking forward to it. Gadget actually stayed in the lane here early on. AHaHaCiK was helped out by Santos in the jungle, but Gadget just chunked out a little bit. You expect this, Ezreal, Galio, the Winds of War, the Mystic Shot combo. It's going to be a bit hard to deal with in the laning phase.
And just very hard to get priority against an Ezreal early who's able to spam out for the attack speed through the Mystic Shots. Not to mention, all of ShiauC's kit is going to be AoE, and he's got himself a Relic Seal. So you're exactly right. They're just going to look to push in. Gadget's not too perturbed by that. Just wants to be able to scale up. Karthus, the longer the game goes, the happier he is. Scales off both levels as well as the ability power.
I think you could say that for almost every champion in this game in terms of scaling. Like, I look at the Vayne, I look at an Aatrox, they're both pretty good scaling up. Sylas, GangPlank, Ezreal, all of those are very happy getting to those 2-3 items or so.
Yeah, they certainly are, and at the same time you can see Nomanz kind of bucking what I thought was going to be the landing phase, pushing into Rather, and you can see he got a very cheeky ward into the Raptor camp, so also spotted out Bugi's first clear.
Hanabi trading into boss in the top lane. Across the board, just skirmishes starting to happen. Bugi's going to spot out AHaHaCiK here. AHaHaCiK does have the smite. Bugi's is still on cooldown for the moment.
Yeah, one of the cardinal sins, however, is contesting without mid lane priority. You've seen Rather has come across, but now it's just going to mean he loses out on some experience, some gold. Bugi will get the Scuttle Crab, and kind of the pressure dissipates.
Yeah, the level advantage, I think, for Bugi over AHaHaCiK means that you can't really pressure that too much. And AHaHaCiK just goes, gets his Razor Beak, says, okay, I lose out on the double Scuttle. It's not the end of the world for me.
This top lane, however, is becoming quite rough, and another invade onto the top side jungle.
And Bugi coming in will land a knock up onto an AHaHaCiK, and AHaHaCiK will knock him back. Nomanz on his way up, but already Bugi gets some damage down. Still has the smite as well if he wants to steal away this red buff. But with Hanabi being able to push in top, he can just rotate down. And
that's why I was saying Hanabi's lane becoming a problem, because topside jungle is up and available right now for an AHaHaCiK. He wants to be able to clear out those camps, get himself the level 6, but with that priority, not going to be able to go for it.
Trade aggressively in there by Betty as the arcane shifted forward. Actually, Santa's very low, still has the thick skin, so they can't go in for the full engage.
Yeah, also a heal available as well, so don't want to over-aggress with that summoner spell up.
Yeah.
They had the ignite, could have looked to potentially burn it, but instead just sit on it, wait for some jungle assist.
Flash Wolves have come out swinging in the early game here, about a 300 gold lead or so. Hanabi trading well in the top lane, but an AHaHaCiK is looking for his first gank of the game.
And this is very aggressive from an AHaHaCiK on the Sejuani coming in. They're baiting with the back.
If that works, that is an absolutely next level play. Gadget here behind the minion wave. There's a cannon there though, so they don't want to trade too aggressively in it. Betty will land some damage onto an AHaHaCiK. The double taunt comes out. Teleport now used by Flash Wolves. They want to take the fight. Betty low on mana. Santa splashes away. He's got the Sejuani as Bella. Can't quite land the abduct, and counter teleport comes in from Vega Squadron. It's Nomanz joining the party, but both teams just have to back off in the bottom lane.
Good response teleport there from Nomanz. However, rather already missing the skill shot. And you can see cannot walk back up river. Complete control of bottom side map for Vega. So we'll have to recall. Gadget also gets his recall stopped there, Medic. That's a big deal because a massive wave crashing would have liked to be able to teleport back towards it. Has to stick around for a little bit longer.
That he does. I mean, he will have the teleport still after he pushes out this lane. He's got a little bit of gold underneath his belt, but it slows him down rather than really hampers him too much in the laning phase.
He's only sitting on 1,100 gold, so potentially wants to get back to the Catalyst, the Protector, start scaling towards that Rod of Ages.
And of course, the earlier you get that, the quicker you become a high damage Karthus. Is running the Dark Harvest in that bottom lane as well, as to be expected on Karthus. You want to build up their stacks as much as possible, and then when you hit level 6, we're looking for those ultimates.
And the big surprise for me here is that the GangPlank has done so well during the laning phase. 6 CS, you know, pushing in continually versus that Aatrox. And then the Vayne in the mid lane. You know, we said going to be a target early. Well, it's just farmed up a storm.
And I love, we set up the expectation that both the supports want to roam around in the early game. You can already see Santos is in the mid lane, ShiauC is in the mid lane, and Gadget and Betty are like, cool, we'll farm down towards the bottom side. Let our supports try and help out those mid laners, try and get some of these skirmishes off. And AHaHaCiK is coming up towards the top lane right now. Boss will land the Infernal Chains. Hanabi is level 6, has the flash, going to try and jump away, but the chase in from an AHaHaCiK, the stun lock. Hanabi gets underneath his tower with the removed Scurvy, but they do burn the flash.
Yeah, really nice patience from Hanabi there to hold the oranges, but still the summoner spell is burnt. Boss gets some relief after the teleport is expended into top lane. We'll also get another reset here if he wants, or can just look for some vision top side. And AHaHaCiK has been so active on this Sejuani so far. Obviously reading the fact that Flash will do like to get on the map and understanding that even though he's playing some scaling, can't just sit back and farm. In saying that, it has hurt him. Bugi is up 15 CS. That is a huge advantage at this stage of the game.
Already about 600 gold between those two junglers as well. You can see it's about 1,300 between the teams. A bit of that sitting on the Ezreal as well. Betty with the Klepto getting a plate in the bottom lane as well. It's just that little bit further ahead of Gadget.
And this is just more proof that even though we're talking about Flash Wolves as a team fighting team, they do still have good individual pieces of the puzzle. You can never underestimate the ability for these guys to carry on the international stage, especially going up against a play-ins region team. So I think that, you know, analysts everywhere would like to say Fongbu have a shot, Vega have a shot, but history just keeps showing us that when it comes to these major regions clashing against the emerging regions, that it is a very uphill battle, and this game already off to that start.
It always is. It's struggle bus a lot of the time for those emerging regions, but we are slowly seeing improvements. We're slowly seeing bit by bit. Yes, Gadget going triple Dorans here instead of getting that Catalyst of the Aeons early on.
Yeah, it was called the mini Catalyst. Yeah. Like mini Rod of Ages back in the day.
AP, what more do you need?
Just 3 of them, and potentially that means going for an early Luden, so just wants the HP to be able to live through the laning phase. Now he'll scale up towards the cooldown reduction.
And I guess if you have a Tahm Kench there to protect you as well.
Procs.
Don't always need to be there. Boss pops the World Ender in the top lane, has the flash. We'll go into that revive. Passive Hanabi and Bugi trying to get him down, but Boss can just flash underneath the turret.
Yeah, but that was an all-in that Boss was looking for. Now, and AHaHaCiK again, top side of the map, a full level down, however, Medic. Don't think he can save anything. And this is becoming a real problem because even though Hanabi not punishing in CS, This is the pressure void that we talk about. The ability to take trades, you know, draw pressure up into that top lane. Does start to become a sticking point. You can see they want to re-invade or potentially look for a catch again on this top side.
They know AHaHaCiK, oh, it's just hit the 6. Okay, he has the ultimate now, which makes it a lot harder for this dive to be enacted. Boss didn't have teleport, so if they found the perfect time, then they might have been able to do it. Bugi actually might be in a bad spot here. He's going to land the unburrow, get stunned up, looking for the Void Rush as well. He'll go on, but already he's dead. And Bugi took a trade. He took a bite out of something he didn't want. Yeah,
big mistake from Bugi there. Actually waits in the brush, knows that 2 members are going towards him, thinks he can outplay. Pretty cocky performance there, and does get punished. That means gold lead now swinging back. Let's take another look at it. So as you mentioned, it was a level 5, gets level 6 off the wave, sets up very nicely, was looking for the ultimate off the back end, but underestimates Boss and AHaHaCiK's ability to proc that stun. The ultimate was also expended from Hanabi, so resources used and nothing gained for the Flash Wolves.
It's closed the gold gap for Vega Squadron as well. You can see it's only about 100 gold between the two teams. Looking across the board, CS actually pretty even now. Only that lead for Nomanz in the middle lane for Vega Squadron.
And it also leads to a reset top side of the map as well as Scuttle Crab going down. We mentioned the fact that Flash Wolves love the 10-minute Rift Heralds. That's not going to be on the menu today, because of the fact that that top lane play went so awry. You can see already Galio heading towards the play, wants to get involved on the map. There's nothing happening in an Ezreal versus Karthus matchup bottom lane. Needs to feel he's having an impact.
It's the Q versus Q battle down towards that bottom lane. ShiauC has always been known as this guy, when you can unleash him from the lane, he's the guy that will impact the map. He's the guy that will set up vision, that will help you make these plays. And even though we thought that 10-minute Rift Herald wasn't possible, Flash Wolves are still going for it.
Yeah, they certainly are. However, Vega have the ultimate on Gadget. They have, you know, a Vayne that has been able to pick up a lot of farm. They can look to challenge if they want. Already you see the Tahm Kench heading up river, Sejuani coming down as well. This could be a fight.
I hope it is. AHaHaCiK here across towards the side, puts the control ward in the pit. Flash Wolf still on that Rift Herald. The Eye's not going to proc now. They've got it under the 2,000 health threshold, and AHaHaCiK jumps in. Look for the spot. He'll steal it away. Rather uses his own ult against him, though. Boss going to come in with the World Ender, trying to get towards that Rift Herald. He just needs to get the Eye, but instead, he will take down Bugi. Santa's here as well as Vega Squadron step forward. Nomanz on his way. Vega will take the 1-for-1 and steal away the Herald.
And the telegraph play is just on accounts for everyone to look at. 10-minute spawn. Rift Herald started up against pressure on the top side of the map. They trade 1-for-1. They lose their Herald. This game getting dangerous for the Flash Wolves.
But what I love about it is it shows Vega Squadron have done their research about Flash Wolves as well.
I mean, also the fact that they were just sitting on ward, you know, a Rift Scuttler. I didn't need to research all that much when it was an open book test medic. This just looked like a hurried, rushed play out of the Flash Wolves lineup, and Vega correctly punished them for it.
That they do. Boss even getting in and stealing away the kill on towards Bugi. Let's have a quick look at the first completed items. It's the Cinder Hulk and AHaHaCiK here on the Sejuani as expected. It's going to be Blade of the Ruin King first for Nomanz in the mid lane.
And we're talking about the fact that this guy was 15 CS down. He was so active. He was just looking for plays. Well, given the fact that Bugi's just been killed twice, both in very questionable decision-making plays, he's been able to catch up back ahead. And, you know, the tanks always scale better than the carries in the jungle position.
And we did ask how much Flash Wolves would have been affected by some of those roster changes we saw coming into 2019. Of course, Mujin was the jungler for Flash Wolves last year. Bugi coming in, it's his first international tournament. Maybe a little bit of nerves, maybe a little bit of first game jitters.
Yeah, and it's not like the Flash Wolves completely trust this guy either, because in their semi-finals versus AHaHaCiK, they were also willing to sub him out in game number 4 after they had dropped the game. Did bring him back in for the decider of that matchup, but this is someone that they certainly are willing to at least experiment with.
It's going to give a lot of gold over to Boss here as the Rift Herald comes down in the top lane. First time we've seen him play the Aatrox, be much more of a Hecarim player. And I did worry for him a little bit in this lane matchup against Hanabi, one of the key carries for Flash Wolves. I thought he could struggle, but he's even on CS. He's got a couple of kills. He's got the U moves first as well on that Aatrox.
Yeah, even in CS, it's always difficult to judge versus a GangPlank. This isn't a Klepto GangPlank, but farming with the barrels, you can see with the plates now is going to be up about 500 gold, but that's 2 kills. All those plates going across, and still Hanabi hanging very close here. Do think that this has been a little bit of Bugi losing some of his mind, and ShiauC, who is the main shot caller for this team as well, kind of misreading the state of the map.
And next steps for these teams as Vega Squadron take their second neutral objective in the form of the Cloud Drake. You've still got scaling. It is the Luden's first on Gadget that we talked about, so he'll be building up a lot of damage as we come towards those fights.
And this is getting worrying, because all of a sudden you've fallen behind. you've got yourself a Vayne, who I thought was going to be very easy pickings for something like a Rek'Sai. No attention going towards it whatsoever. Then you've got the Karthus and Tahm Kench. You know, maybe we can pick on that, like get priority dive. But that hasn't been the case either. Really, they've tried to play around the top side of the map, but they've lost Herald, they've lost the Dragon, and they've lost control of the current state of the game.
Vega Squadron seizing control away from them in moments as well, making the plays that they need to. We talked a little bit about the trough that comes out from Flash Wolves as we get towards these items. It looks like Vega are going to hit those first items sooner, and especially on someone like a Vayne, that's such a powerful point to be at.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's the area that has impressed me throughout the state of this game. From level 1, Nomanz has had control of that mid lane wave. I thought as ability power came through, you know, potentially there was a way for Rather to swing it around. They do have themselves, you know, the Galio, the Galio ult, the GangPlank ult as well. One of the best early ganking junglers in the game, but just has been able to play with these double control wards. Great map setup from Vega with kind of reckless abandon.
It's working out for them so far. Worked out for them in the playoff stage as well as AHaHaCiK up towards this top side, just trying to catch out Hanabi. But you can see ShiauC once again is on the top side of the map. He's trying to make those reactive plays if Vega do anything.
And the longer this laning phase goes for Vega, you know, with the scaling they've got, a Vayne, a Karthus, you know, Sejuani jungle, the happier they are going to be. I don't think they're in any rush to break this map open. As soon as they get a long lane as well, Nomanz teleport back up and available. You just throw him into that area. Tahm, Kench, and Karthus protect him so nicely. So the current pace of the game suits Vega. We said that Flash Wolves, when all else fails, get active. Well, it looks like they can't do that.
They want to pump up the pace a little bit here. Spawn, they're going for the top lane dive. It's Hanabi underneath the tower. ShiauC here as well. All the teleport's going to join the fight as Vega maybe bit off a bit more than they can chew. Rather get stunned up and counters it as AHaHaCiK locked down with his own ultimate. Flash Wolves will get the kill, and Vega made the play happen, but then lost out in the end.
Yeah, and they knew that Gadget could not follow. There's an ultimate to come, but no Karthus himself. They also expend Hanabi's ultimate to answer on the other side of the map. The experience of the Flash Wolves lineup, you know, that cool head in a pressure situation shines through.
Being in the right position at the right time. ShiauC was there. He was ready and waiting for that top lane dive to happen. And maybe Vega a little bit too antsy, a little bit over anxious to try and make this tower dive work.
Yeah, and I think even more impressive, the fact that, you know, with full jungle on the bottom side, our Bugi's there to respond to the gank as well. Hanabi able to clear out majority of the wave. Double teleports coming in. We spoke about the fact that there's 6 of them and some global ults to boot. Just get everyone in the top lane. Let's have a little bit of a brawl. And then we still have Hanabi's there to answer on the bottom side of the map. However, big window now where Vega will have control of the globals and should be able to set up in the way that they want.
And for a while, we'll have a 3 teleport to 0 advantage. Actually, Nomanz just used his to get back in the mid lane. So only looking at Boss having that TP advantage down towards the bottom lane. Vega can enact this 1-3-1 to a degree at the moment. They've moved Gadget up towards the top side. They've moved Boss down towards the bottom.
And that does surprise me, Medic, because as you pointed out, Nomanz teleporting back into the mid lane. We said this is a guy that probably wants to be in the long lane. You know, Aatrox can still go up there. Melee champion plus Sejuani always is going to have threat, especially with the World Ender and 2 items picked up. However, I feel like Vayne deals with open spaces probably the best out of the Vega lineup. Also very interested that still parked in this mid lane with Tahm Kench as well as a Karthus. I thought this would be enough mid lane priority to kind of dictate the pace of the map and play towards the sides, but obviously very happy with how the map has played out so far, not wanting to mix anything up.
Maybe just waiting for, you know, those 2 items, 2.5 items, the real power points for this composition. When Vayne gets a Ginsu, she's so powerful. When Gadget gets a little bit more AP underneath his belt, he can really impact these fights. And as you said, Aatrox Sejuani is enough to force Hanabi back away from his tower.
That was a force, and I think that it was an appropriate force to go for, because now the map finally starting to open up. We do have, once again, standard lanes resuming. It's not like Flash Wolves are strangers to standard lanes. One of their games kind of went for a 22-minute laning phase into a Baron, into a closeout that I was watching the other day. So they do like to also lane pretty long, but so far, if anything, I've been more impressed with Vega's read on how Flash Wolves want to play, and I think that they've beaten Flash Wolves to a lot of the punch outside of that last turret dive.
They definitely have, and I think it's always important to sort of tint our words with the idea that Vega are a playing team, and so we expect Flash Wolves to have the advantage. We expect them to make plays like this as Nomanz flashes away. Rather underneath the tower, Santa's coming in with the Abyss of Voyage. There's the Requiem. Death from above as Rather gets locked down. Nomanz gets the kill, and once again, it's great reactions from Vega.
Yeah, and once again, an overreach from the Flash Wolves because you don't have the globals. Now mid lane under fire. Let's see if they continue the play.
This is all you have to wait for. Bugi's actually jumped away from this, and the AHaHaCiK can just catch him out. True Shot Barrage comes in from the Ezreal, coming up towards the lane. Betty trying to help out his team, but now Vega can pull down. There's an Ocean Drake here. Gadget's pushed in the bottom lane, and Vega have priority all over the map.
And Gadget just the beneficiary of this, being able to hold onto his teleport, farm out bottom lane. He's now level 11. He's got himself a 10 CS lead. They want to continue here.
Yeah, now that's jumping in. Boss on the chase as well. ShiauC gonna get stunned up with the Glacial Prism. He'll flash away. And Flash Wolves will just escape for the moment. But as you say, Gadget definitely the beneficiary, going over 10 CS a minute.
And every single time it looks like Flash Wolves have a way into the game. You look at the map and you know now that it's this time Nomanz staying at home in that mid lane, being able to take down another turret with the help of Tahm. Everything opening up right now, 2,000 gold, the lead. And we've got to keep going back to it. The scaling is just all there for the Vega Squadron lineup, and Flash Wolves' decision-making so far leaves me with no confidence that late game they're going to be able to execute around this.
Yeah, we said Flash Wolves can play 1-3-1 very well, but Vega seem to be doing it incredibly well themselves. And when you're hitting 2 items before your opponents, if you both scale equally, you are at the advantage.
And this is Nomanz nearly caught out, but great use of the ultimate and willing to burn an early flash means that teleports now have time to complete. Timing on the Karthus there as well, doesn't hit a stopwatched up user, and it nearly looked worse. I mean, you pointed out, Bugi nearly got caught on the bottom side of that jungle. There was an AHaHaCiK there with an ultimate available. Does manage to escape for his life, but now turret's falling down, Dragon's firmly in control of Vega. In fact, every neutral on the map has kind of been theirs for the taking. And this is taking away exactly what Flash Wolves want to do. They want to get to these objectives first. They want to set up. They want to make sure that they're the teams making the proactive play. Well, Vega's kind of read them and is getting them there first.
Definitely are at the moment. Now, the question is, can you take the next step? That's always what we see. Fongru Buffalo against Team Liquid's early game was incredibly strong. They had 1,000, 2,000 gold lead from here, but Vega now need to show us they can convert that gold lead into an advantage that snowballs the game away from Flash Wolves.
And Flash Wolves kind of need to just put the brakes on the game and retake stock, because you can see they're still looking for those aggressive plays. But doesn't look to be there right now. And bottom side of the map, once again, you got Hanabi in this 1v2.
Caught out with a couple of lay wastes. We'll put the barrels down as well. Santa's just chasing him away. And I do want to bring our eyes to Hanabi, because he has consistently been the carry for the Flash Wolves across the LMS. He was the top laner that really dominated for them. But what happened was they gave him gold, and he didn't always convert that into damage for his team.
Yeah, and whilst that is correct, and that's a tale that you get told, when you do watch the games of what he's able to do, he does put pressure on the map. And I think whilst damage is a key stat to track, it's more about where Hanabi draws members, how he creates unequal team fights on the flip side, and his ability to play forward a lot of the time in these games. So certainly think that he does take a lot of resources. He's kind of a sponge for everything around and just vacuums it up. But at the same time, expected him to have more of this front priority, this pressure on boss, who's kind of been able to withstand it in this matchup, and I think kind of turn it into a 50-50 while his team wins everywhere else.
And part of that is AHaHaCiK being in the right place at the right time as well. We saw some good counter ganks coming out from him in the early game. Now, Vega are full 1-3-1. Aatrox towards the top. You've got Gadget, Santas, and AHaHaCiK near that mid lane, and now Nomanz has been moved down towards that bottom side of the map.
And let's talk about priority for a second, because the ability to catch a wave past neutral point, push it without the wave dying on your side, and then move into the jungle first is what we're talking about. That means that vision gets set up for things like Baron, good flanking wards can come out and available. And you can see right now that, they're keeping kind of 4 creeps alive, and they're able to move first into these areas of the map. It makes it very dangerous for Flash Wolves to try and fight for things like vision. Infernal about to come up. Baron always on the option when you have a Karthus comp. They need to be able to cheat tempo somewhere, maybe sack a side lane and be able to get on the map first, because otherwise, in an equal numbers fight, Vegas should have the advantage right now.
And you can see there, Bugi was only warned about AHaHaCiK being in his jungle by the tremor sense. When you don't have that vision, it becomes so much scarier to step forward. And with things like a dragon coming up soon, it means Flash Wolves have to try and find a way to get some wards on the map.
And look how far up, Boss is able to catch his waves. Nomanz stepping completely past, even though they have jungler on this side of the map. You can see Tahm Kench already moving down. They want to be able to take the last outer.
As the Abyssal Voyage, the tower going low as Nomanz tries to chip away at it, but Flash Flash Wolves just can't defend. You can't do anything against the Ginsu's Rageblade, Blade of the Ruined King, already completed on Nomanz.
Especially when Nomanz gets to sit there and stack Rageblade up on the wave before the fight even starts. That means that every fight he goes into, he's going to be charging in at full damage potential already. And you can see that with this area of the map controlled in the mid lane, bottom side jungle has just become a playground for Vega. They're going to be able to move in. Nomanz wants Hanabi.
Hanabi just stunned into the wall, uses the orange straight away, but Nomanz will just chase him down. Hero's Entrance comes out, Nomanz flashes away.
Kill him.
1v1, now he can turn him around onto ShiauC. Here comes Bugi though, they're looking to lock up the Vayne. Devour is available for Santos and he gets him out, but the shutdown will still come out. And AHaHaCiK and the rest of Vega Squadron now want to turn it back around on the Flash Wolves. Betty jumping back, rather on the front line, pops the stopwatch, has the Requiem stolen away. The True Chopper will do a lot of work. Gadget flashes forward, trying to get the kills, but he just can't get enough. ShiauC will go down, the Requiem comes out, counter Requiem has already been used. Vega Squadron all survive, and Flash Wolves will get out with their lives.
The back and forward fight there starts off with the 1v1 for Nomanz, but the Flash Wolves equal to the task. Still, that dragon on your screen is going to be the primary objective, and Flash Wolves will secure it for now.
Boss still has teleport. If he really wants to contest, he could TP down here, and AHaHaCiK's on his way as well, but it might be a little bit too greedy to try and stop Betty and Bugi from doing this, especially with the teleports coming in from the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, that was a very quick teleport coming in from Hanabi to be able to secure it. However, now with that resources expended, he can't be the member to play the bottom side of the map. It is going to have to be Rather. And this is what we're talking about with side lane Vayne. You've got a long distance to cover. Well, she's just got CC, she's got the slow. And I think actually if ran back through the jungle, maybe would have even had a little bit more area to outplay. Rather did a good job of cutting that off. However, it did mean that he was then caught between the rest of the Vega Squadron lineup. And Boss flying in here. You know, you can argue about the target prioritization of the Vega Squadron. Boss trying very hard to, I guess, separate the back line away from the rest of the team fight. But in the end, it is a 2-for-2 trade. And you can see the potency that Vayne is going to have on the side lane. Didn't have to burn the teleport. Can just go back and set up resonancy down there.
So powerful. Going to be up towards the top side with the Baron up. It makes sense to have your strongest member on the strong side of the map. Boss still has TP down towards that bottom side as well, so could join a fight. And now we'll see how good Vega's vision control is. You want to deny as many wards as possible around this Baron pit. Keep Flash Wolves in the dark as much as possible.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2-item. Ooh, that's going to be a 2-man Baron.
But the wards just outside the pit will spot them out. It means Vega can't really do too much about this, and that's why the stages, the setup for a Baron play are so important. Make sure the enemy team hasn't been there for a few minutes so you know all the vision's dying off. Clear it out, get your control wards in, and that's what we want to see from Vega.
Absolutely right. And at the same time, we want to see patience because their team scales. So just hold them there. You've once again got push bottom lane all the way to the tier 2 turret. You're getting first access to mid lane wave. Just play the patient game. Don't overforce. Don't be willing to play a reckless style of League of Legends. You should be able to win every side lane conflict at this stage of the game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Flash Wolves are the people playing from the back foot time and time again. You can see Rek'Sai just shooting Prey Seekers at brushes, saying, I hope they're not on the Baron right now because there is no way for us to check them going over the back wall with something like the Tahm Kench Devour with a Vayne showing on a side lane right now. But every single time they duck into Fog of War, more questions are asked of this Flash Wolves lineup.
Gadget sitting at 2 items as well, just landing those laneways. Betty down to 2/3 HP, and Nomanz had just recalled. He's now finished his Phantom Dancer, 3-item Vayne, well and truly online. Whereas across the other side, Flash Wolves, you've got a more on Betty. That will help him out against the Karthus. You have Trinity Force Yumu's completed on Hanabi. You've got a couple of items on Rather as well, but they're not keeping pace with Vega.
As far as Rather versus Nomanz goes, that's a wash. Like, don't even talk about the lane matchup anymore. No way that goes in a 1v1. It's going to be all about the ultimate utility. Nothing?
Oh, that's cheeky. That is super cheeky. Can he solo it?
I don't think he can.
Okay, now I think they've seen the Sejuani come across. Hanabi's going to join them. Bugi's down towards the bottom side of this. ShiauC has just backed away. Teleport coming in. Flash Wolves know they have to take the fight, but Vayne is out. Lots of teleports being used here. Flash Wolves had no idea. They used both teleports. That is an absolutely abysmal play from the Flash Wolves because now Vega can just push the sideline.
And they just are so patient. Exactly what we asked for from Vega. You know, the setup of the vision, block them out for the 3 minutes and just play your side lanes nice and calmly. Just got them the best reward of all. 2 teleports expended. Now Rather, who I don't think can contest the side lane, you know, down on items, has to try and fight it. If you're not able to generate pressure, Vega can just move back in, take away all of that vision, and rinse and repeat, but this time without the ability to get 5 members there.
I'm really impressed by Vega so far. As you say, their patience. Like 5 minutes ago, we asked, can they play it out? Can they keep their advantage snowballing away? That's exactly what they're doing. Yes, the gold lead hasn't extended by that much, but they can just make these plays around vision around the Baron.
And we always talk about what these planes, these wild card, emerging regions can do to upset the major regions. It seems that you need some confidence, some swagger, play your game, but it also needs to have something, you know, a little bit cheesy about it. And I think that right now, Vega are showing that not only do they have both of those components covered, but they also have the patience and the trust to slow down when they have to. And that has meant that this game has kind of been a bit of a shutout for the last, 10, 15 minutes. They've been able to dictate the pace since that Rift Herald, and unless a major mistake comes through, you're going to have Karthus on level 16 with 3 items. You're going to have a 4-item Vayne just around the corner. And this is a recipe for disaster if you're a Flash Wolves fan.
You can see just continuing to be steady here for Vega. They need to clear out this vision, using their sweepers as appropriately as possible, have some control wards in their inventories as well, so I want to see those get placed down, but it's just a waiting game. It's a waiting game until you have the push in the lanes and until you can start up that Baron once again.
Or until Flash Wolves make the mistake, right?
Yeah.
You don't even have to be proactive at this stage. Until 6 items, time is just always on your side for the Vega lineup. Hold them in this position, make them get desperate. They're playing Rek'Sai, they're playing things like the Sylas as well that don't necessarily have the best teamfight impact if the teamfights are just short and over in an instance. If Sylas gets, 3 rotations of the ultimate out, completely changes the makeup of that. But in these short, burst 1 member out, use a Karthus ultimate, use an AHaHaCiK Sejuani's ultimate. They don't have a great face checker outside of ShiauC as well. So many things for the Flash Wolves right now, just not in their favor.
We start to move from the position where you use Karthus ultimate as a closer to Karthus ultimate as a start for the fight as well. You can see Nomanz ready and raring to go, already level 17, highest level on the in the game on that Vayne. 16 coming up on its way for Gadget, and because of the pressure in bot, Boss can just take a dragon for free.
And a great dragon to take, not because it's an air drake, but because we're about to hit 30 minutes, and that means it is going to be not the Aatrox spawning. I thought he was going to wait. I was going to say,
I thought he was going to wait a second.
2 areas of the map to play. Apparently he only wants 1 right now, Medic.
Yeah, maybe you just want another dragon, Yeah. 4 Dragon Elder is better than 3 Dragon Elder.
Yeah, potentially fishing for an Infernal, something like that. You have a 33% chance of it coming up. Obviously, hit the ocean, Freak's favorite Drake, but maybe not mine, so...
Not at the 30-minute mark, I don't think. Doesn't give you that much chance. Now, Nomanz and AHaHaCiK are trying to set up something here as Betty steps forward, thinks he's free and clear. He's spotted out. And AHaHaCiK, you're going to go for this. Glacial Prison is available rather around the corner as well, and you can see Vega Squadron patience. Patience here.
And what are the steps? They don't have someone creating pressure in the bottom lane. They didn't have complete mid-game lane priority. They didn't have their deep ward, so don't go for the play. Be patient, Wait for Boss to be able to answer that wave. They go over though.
Flash in from ShiauC, and already they got the shutdown onto Gadget. Now they're fighting in the middle of the Death Defy. Nomanz on his way across. Gadget doing quite a lot of work as the Maw is propped on Betty. He's got that lifeline back. Vega Squadron will just try and retreat, get behind their tower, and defend for the moment.
Great pick there for the Flash Wolves. Will lead to a mid lane turret, you would have to think. Only 1 flash expended as well. Probably a good price to pay at this stage of the game.
That is a little bit of the weakness of the Vega Squadron composition as well. If the Karthus is dead and only Vayne's left there, you don't really have the easiest wave play in the world.
Yeah, and that is where Santis needs to know exactly what Gadget wants to do. You cannot be a step behind because a catch is available. Even if they're both taunted, it can be difficult given the fact that no spellbook is being run, no cleanse there for Gadget as well, for Santis as well. So difficult scenario to navigate for Vega. First mistake of the game costs them a turret, costs them a little bit of positioning on this map as well.
I mean, mistakes at this point are so much more costly than mistakes in the laning phase as well, especially when you're running against 2 comps that scale relatively well on both sides. You don't want to be getting caught out. All it does is delay the game, and it allows Flash Wolves that little bit more pressure in the game.
And potentially the first sign of some frustration, because immediately they get back on map and they want to just start hitting the Baron. Flash Wolves should know something is going on here.
Vega Squadron shredding through it, down to 7,000 HP. Boss on the front line, Betty trying to come in as well. Here's rather up towards the top, off the Glacial Prison, onto Santa's arrow, going for the fight. It's secured by Vega Squadron, but who's going to take the fight in the end? The Requiem comes out, Nomanz solo, trying to do what he can. So much damage from Flash Wolves, though, taking on the Boss. Jumps straight back in, now it's a 2v3 in favor of Vega. Bugi turns it around, ShiauC there as well, and AHaHaCiK cannot get across the wall. Santa's will fall, and AHaHaCiK needs to get away. Just keep that Baron alive.
And it looked like they had got the Baron and got out cleanly. However, Boss wants to re-enter the fight, does so without World Ender up and available. Flash Wolves turn it. This game just turned up another level, but it looks like Vega still able to maintain the gold lead.
Yeah, they have the gold lead, and they still have one Baron remaining, which is so important for them. They'll lose a tower in the top side, but let's have another look at this fight, because it's just a cluster of AoE.
Yeah, and the impatience, you know, using Tahm Kench, get in there immediately, and AHaHaCiK having to tank, only tank on the lineup means that so much damage already going down. Flash Wolves' approach is terrific. It's from multiple angles. They're able to get into the fight. Double Requiem coming back up and available. And you can't blame Boss. That looks like it's going to be a free kill. Bugi outplays him. You know, ShiauC there for the support as well. Without any damage left, it's going to be difficult.
Nomanz is teleported in behind Bugi here. Flash Wolves might lose their jungler as he tries to get away, but there's no real escape. Oh, he goes back through the burrow.
The AHaHaCiK
there. Requiem. Pop goes the Rek'Sai. Bugi will fall, and now the next 49 seconds, Vega Squadron have a man up.
And look at the sick damage coming out of Gadget in those team fights. You can see the gold lead pretty much back to even now, slightly back in Vega's favor. But you're right, that one Baron buff could be enough. You know, now with a member down, you can pressure the mid lane turrets, start to try and open up. Whilst the 1-3-1 secured them golden resources, didn't really progress the stage of the map state, so they need to make this Baron count.
Looking for the first tower of the Baron power play. It's mid, rather coming in from the side as well. Has that Glacial Prism stolen away. Makes it very hard for Vega Squadron to push up, especially for Santas, who would, if he tanks the Glacial Prism, he's likely just dead.
And now imagine if Boss had himself a Baron buff available, if he could just sit back behind this turret, take pop shots like this with the Baron buff running. Instead, Hanabi able to clear out that wave will mean that another creep wave, which is only just coming from River, has to be weighted in before they can apply pressure in multiple areas again.
Mid lane tower down to a third. There's the Glacial Prism. Hits onto Santas. True Shot Barrage comes out as well. Santas still has the thick skin. Will keep himself alive for the moment. Redemption used as well. Flash Wolves just trying to keep the tower alive for as long as possible. Wave is pushing in top, but by now, Hanabi has been able to come around and react.
And this is the thing. If you don't hold the wave, the mid lane and side lane waves do not crash at the same time. So you can see as they're just pushing through as quickly as possible in both areas, means that they're unequal bounces, even bottom lane wave being neglected, teleport being used in mid lane again. This is getting a little bit sloppy from Vega. I would like to see them go back towards that 1-3-1. You know, Vayne at this stage of the game is unrivaled in that.
They go down towards bottom lane, they're looking for the catch. Rather, jumps away with the abscond, and it's only Boss and Santas who are there.
And you can see the tone of the game has shifted. It's no longer this patient play. It's, is there someone on the side? Like, can we attack them? Is there a Baron up? You know, let's go to the Dragon. Let's just try and keep the up-tempo pace of this game going. Potentially worried about the coordination and the skill of this Flash Wolves team in a team fight, or potentially thinking that they just have enough items to be able to close this one out. Certainly looking for the death blow either way is a Vega Squadron.
But as well, the longer the game goes on, the closer Flash Wolves get to being full items, to being equal in terms of items with Vega. Look at it, you've got fully built Betty now. He had nothing left for him to buy. You've got Rabadon's Death Cap on its way for Rather. You've got a GA finished on Bugi. Like, Flash Wolves seem to have been able to weather a little bit of the early storm when that Baron was being set up for, and now actually scaling well into the game.
Yeah, and the only problem with that, right, is that when you see ShiauC, his ultimate, way more impactful in a team fight. If you want to start ramming heads with something like a Galio, impact for what it can have over a Tahm Kench is just completely different ball games. While Sejuani should be able to have more pressure than Bugi in these fights, you know, with the triple item, can potentially assassinate someone like Gadget before he can even join the fight. You're giving options in the 5v5 to the Flash Wolves that I don't think they have in an isolated 1-3-1 scenario.
Well, that's what's happened here. Nomanz goes up towards the top lane, Boss down towards the bottom side, so it's a bit of a 1-3-1. Hopefully, we'll see Vega hold this for a little while, because Flash Wolves are looking for the fight. Rather has the World Ender stolen away. Gadget will flash away. Santas, once again, not coordinated with Gadget. Wasn't there to help his team, and he has to flash as well.
Yeah, both flashes burn. However, there is side lane pressure, and, you know, this is what happens in a 1-3-1. If they miss their shot, even if you have to burn summoners, you get the free objective on the bottom side of the map. One more mistake like that, base is opened up, you can start looking for things like inhibitors. So I think that the Vega's discipline to burn the summoner spells early, you know, get themselves to safety, not give anything up while still gaining ground is going to be key as this game progresses.
With a minute left before the Baron comes up as well, it's pretty much neck and neck. 3,000 gold between the two teams. Quad Dragon on Vega, double Cloud, double Ocean. Whereas Flash Wolves do have that Infernal sitting in their back pocket.
And if you're going to have one drag in this game,
I'll take the Infernal.
A Lonely Infernal is not a bad one to have, especially given the fact you got yourself something like a GangPlank, you know, Sylas, Rek'Sai. You have pretty much 4 champions that very much benefit from that. A couple of airs and a couple of crappy oceans at this stage. Sure, they keep you healthy in the side lane, gives you some mana, but at this stage, I would still appreciate the Infernal.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, especially with the power that you have. Imagine Vega having that extra damage on the Vayne, extra damage on the Karthus would be absolutely game-breaking. But now, we do see Flash Wolf setting up around the Baron, getting a bit of vision in here. Hanabi still down towards the bottom side. That's where he's lived for the last few minutes.
And now this becomes crucial for the Flash Wolf. You want to be second to the Baron, but you don't want to be that second that the Baron's already gone. You want to catch them in the process while it's quite healthy, where, you know, things like the GangPlank ultimate, like that Karthus ultimate you just stole, can be hugely impactful. At the same time as Vega, shut them out of vision again. Get someone on this bottom lane. You've got Boss already with a teleport up and available. Trust that your carries are not going to get caught and play the map in a disciplined fashion.
Boss looking for the flank instead of going down towards that bottom side. You can see that Bugi is up towards the top side of this as well, trying to scout out people with the Prey Seeker. Hanabi could go down towards bot. There's a True Shot Barrage, hits onto Gadget. It's only about a third of his HP gone down though. Santos will heal up with the thick skin.
Also will heal up with the double Ocean Drake. So maybe, potentially, Ocean Drake coming in clutch here.
Was right all along.
Some melons as well, just to top himself off. And this is turning into a little bit of an ARM medic. This is both teams not wanting to give an inch, you know, not necessarily trusting the map play to such a high level that they don't think someone's going to get caught out. Flash is up and available for the Flash Wolves members. You know, you're looking at Bugi, you're looking at ShiauC, the 2 people that will pull the trigger on the play. If it isn't available for Gadget and Santos, maybe this is the way you have to play. 5-man death ball, stack into it. Bottom lane is building a wave into Vega right now, so someone eventually has to go and deal with this.
It's true. I'm wondering if Nomanz is just waiting for the Infinity Edge here as well. He is sitting on 2,300 gold and has a BF sword in his inventory. Okay. I agree with you, like, that you can still have someone in a side lane if you're waiting for an item. You can still play relatively safe, but maybe Vega's just a little bit apprehensive, as we say. Weren't expected to challenge Flash Wolves this much, and when you're so close to a game win, you don't want to throw it away.
And this has been a terrifically patient performance from Vega. Don't want to take anything away from this lineup. And now, as soon as they see one on the side lane, they go back to the Baron. Here we go.
Requiem comes out straight away. Vega just disengaged. Don't need to do anything. The Locket did come out as well, perhaps a little bit late there. It's not stopping the Requiem.
And potentially that's what they were looking for, rather sitting on the Requiem for such a long time. Get rid of the best ultimate we have available. Let's go get our Infinity Edge and come back into... Ooh, he sold it.
Mercurial.
That makes sense to me. You know, more ability to survive in this team fights, a crucial cleanse that, as he's running teleport, will not be available in his kit. I like the discipline from Nomanz. More damage is not required. You already have enough. Let's go with some safety.
Elder Dragon up in 20 seconds as well. Now we do have that 2-side of the map approach here. Where will Flash Wolves put their pressure? Because whatever side you give up, Vega Squadron are going to look for that objective.
Well, you don't want to give up Elder Dragon, because that's a 4-Dragon Elder that they can therefore force with, so I expect them to fight for this quite hard. They're trying to gain control over mid lane. Steps being followed correctly right now from the Flash Wolves. Boss, however, is on the flank. See who pulls the trigger first.
Elder Dragon down, 7,000 HP on it. Bugi looking for the entrance rather than betting up towards the top side. And AHaHaCiK's going to catch out Bugi with the Glacial Prison. Bugi almost goes down. Has the Guardian's Angel though. Rather jumps to the back like Gadget in the middle of the whole team. Santa's still alive with a thick skin as well. Gadget's shut down, but the Requiem comes out and Bugi will be caught by it. He goes down. Jungler down for Flash Wolves, but Flash Wolves continue to look for the engage. Rather taken out by Santas. Nomanz continues to push forward here. The final hour, maybe the final shot into the hearts of Flash Wolves in this game. He takes out ShiauC. He can continue to chase. Hanabi can't even get the barrel off. Nomanz with the A move skill. Double kill for the mid laner from Vega.
And a pop-off performance from Nomanz, counting CC, timing everything to perfection on the back end of the fight. And that means they'll look for the end potentially through the top lane.
You've got 30 seconds left on Radha, 26 on Bugi. Can they take the game from this? Betty trying to defend as much as he can. You've still got inhibitor towers to get through. No Baron buff, of course, on this Vega Squadron team, but they are looking for the close.
They certainly are. Betty trying his best, but with 13 seconds on the next available member for Elder Drake, 4-stack member of Vega, they're pushing into the end.
They were patient, they waited, they took the longest game of MSI 2019, but in the end, they take all that matters. Vega Squadron 1-0 over Flash Wolves.
And a terrific performance from the CIS representatives. Just everything you want to see out of an emerging region squad. The read on what the gameplay is going to be about. Get to objective first. A little bit of ingenuity in the pick ban phase, but then the patience to bring it all together. Vega Squadron were all over the Flash Wolves that game, and it did not look like the Wolves had any answers.
One or two moments where Vega maybe overstepped the mark, but immediately they brought it back. They made it another patient play. They set up the vision control and they said, hey, Flash Wolves, come at us. Take the game to us.
And I think more than that, you know, the ability to be able to navigate around a very aggressive sides, you know, say what you will about the 1-3-1 and the inability to get back into it. They did set up as 5 members. They were always first to it. Their vision control was very, very impressive, Medic. And when they did go into the 1-3-1, it looked good. They had the ability to be able to attack the side lanes as well. So really, when you're going down the pick ban list, was it perfect? No, but was it good enough for a very comprehensive victory? Absolutely.
It definitely was. And I think a lot of people doubted Vega coming out of Group B. They said it's the weaker group in the play-ins. They're not going to be as strong. But this game really showed how high their level of competition is.
It certainly did. And it answered some of those mechanical ceiling questions. You know, Nomanz being able to take it to Rather, a guy that did play for Griffin and be able to style on the matchup. There were little things in this game that if you were a Vega fan, you know, the skill ceiling isn't that out of reach. Your play style does lend itself to some very interesting games. I think that there's a lot going on here.
All right, let's get a closer look on how Game 1 played out. We're going to hand it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Medic. Vega Squadron picking up a game here to make it 1-0 over the Flash Wolves, but what a stark difference between this series and the last series. This game went over 41 minutes, the longest of MSI, as you heard Medic say. But we were talking about kind of this mountain that Vega was going to have to climb in order to take this best-of-5 series. How did you guys feel about the attack plan here for that squad?
Well, they brought a jetpack. That's basically what that composition was. They're like, we got to go over the mountain. I've got like the rocket boots on. I got the jetpack. I got the helmet, and they flew over it. That is one of the craziest, coolest drafting things I've ever seen. And Vega, they've been doing it all split long. I didn't think it would work against an emerging power region, but boy, did they prove me wrong. This is insane.
Well, the crazy thing is you say, like, you know, it's like a jetpack over a mountain, but it's like it's the first of maybe 3 mountains you need the jetpack over because that was such a hard-fought game for them, and like they did so much in the game, in the draft, you know. When the Vayne initially got locked in, we're like, the Karthus is going mid. Interesting.
All right.
And you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Vayne went mid. So like the whole, like just from the beginning of the draft, as soon as Karthus, Tahm, Kench was locked in, we're like, we're in for a good game, but didn't know it was going like that.
And I think this is a crazy good read, not just on like Vega understanding what they wanted to do, their win conditions, but also understanding what they wanted to take away from the Flash Wolves. So like the 3 key points is with the Hecarim ban, suddenly Aatrox becomes more viable. He is one of the big counter pickups there. I mean, Licorice was the guy that started that. So Boss going back to a comfort pick like the Aatrox feels good. You take away the Tahm Kench. Not only can Santos play it, but it is a huge pick for ShiauC down there to have that presence on the map to shot call, and then all of the teleports, all of the semi-global ultimates. You're against a team that loves to skirmish, that loves to fight. Just start stacking all of the globals and say, we'll meet you there, we'll beat you to the punch every single time.
That plus the fact that as much as Flash Wolves want to skirmish, they don't have that great of an early skirmishing team. You have GP and Ezreal, who are both pretty safe, good, stable laners, and you know they have some annoying spammable abilities, but if you're trying to go really hard or punish a Karthus or do any of that kind of stuff, like these are not the best picks for it. Your mid jungle can kind of skirmish, but it's against the Vayne.
Right.
It's like, how many of those 2v2s have you really fought?
Exactly. They're not hard winning those 2v2s. I mean, we hit the 30-minute mark, and there are only 9 kills across the entire game. Overall, kind of a low-kill game, again, in contrast to the first series of the day. But I do want to talk about the kind of ingenious draft, in a sense, as we're dubbing it, a very intelligent draft here out of Vega Squadron. Contrast that to the play. Because I think if you go to the midpoint of the game, somewhere around that 20 to 25-minute mark, based on the way the chips had fallen up to that point, you would say Vega is in a fantastic point to close this game out relatively simply, just based on the champion matchups and the fact that they had a Goldie to that point. But it didn't come that easily for them.
No, I mean, they got 2 Barons, an Elder Drake, 4 Elemental Dragons. Like, the fact that they had to do so much work on top of have this crazy draft is actually what makes this, like you said, the mountain to climb, so to speak, so interesting because it's like how much of this is replicatable.
And unpopular opinion, maybe, I watched that and I'm like, Flash Wolves are still the better team. They're out team fighting them. They're from a massive deficit. Like against that comp with the lead that Vega had, they should have just steamrolled. If you flip that, the Flash Wolves end it. That last Elder Dragon fight, Bugi goes in and he basically throws it. He tries to go for the Smite Steal. If he was on the same side of his team and if they fought, that looked like a 1-5 fight.
Now, there wasn't necessarily a single pick that won or dictated the game, but at the top of the day, Frosker, and you were talking about the Karthus for Gadget. And I think we just need to reiterate how powerful or how impressive a pick this is for this guy. You can see here in the LCL, undefeated on it, 2-0 now at MSI. It just seems that you would recommend it, perhaps just get it off the table. Don't allow some of this craziness to happen in Champions Select, and allow Flash Wolves to play a more standard game against a team that they might just strictly be better than.
I thought for sure that they would ban the Karthus, because for me, it's not necessarily about the 2v2 strength of the Karthus. It's about how the Karthus influences the rest of the map. Because Hanabi is a carry top laner, I don't want Karthus pressing R in the bot lane and then destroying the 2v2 winning top side of the map that the Flash Wolves really love to exploit. But I think Flash Wolves had a bad read on how they wanted to handle this series. Taking GP, not taking away the Karthus. I think immediate adjustments, he'll never get that Karthus again.
I think it's interesting because we talked about at the top of the day, they have so many like crazy things they can throw down the bot line, the Nico, whatever it is. So they went for pretty standard bans with Aurelia, Hecarim, and Taric, and you kind of give them their choice of the craziest stuff. Hopefully they start adapting and getting rid of the Karthus, but there's always another thing that can seemingly take its place with the side of Vega because they have so many weird picks.
Before we dive into some quick thoughts on that second game of the series, I do want to take a look at the final fight of the game up near that Elder Drake that we talked about 41 minutes in.
Keep your eyes on Flash Wolves jungler right here. He's like focused in. Now this guy came straight from solo queue. He doesn't have a ton of competitive experience, and this is such a solo queue call that I've ever seen. He's like, I've got to do it. I have to get the steal. If he's fighting with his team are looking like they're winning that fight. But Rek'Sai literally does nothing this entire fight.
It's one of those things where you're like, oh, okay, they have 4 elemental drakes. We have to stop them from getting this because once they get it, it's over. And they're not paying attention well, you can also just start the fight before they get it. Because the Drake was actually relatively healthy. It was at 4,000 when they started landing those big GP barrels and probably could have just fought. And because you have one of your 5 members tunneled on, waiting for the objective to go low, getting hit by an Aatrox, suddenly you start losing that fight.
It was a close fight, even at that. And so, yes, if a couple things go differently.
It was a close fight. It shouldn't have been.
Right.
Vega were so far ahead, and that's why I'm like, oh, this still looks really scary. Vega have to keep bringing all of these strategies because Flash Wolves individually, as a cohesive team, look stronger in game number 1.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. The fact that they're up 1-0 in the series doesn't mean that we flip the script all of a sudden and we believe they are the favored team in this series. So now it's a question, Mark, that you raised about whether or not this is, replicatable, whether or not they're going to be able to replicate this strategy specifically or have 2 more of those jetpacks to get over 2 more mountains. Vega Squadron did have side selection going into game 2, and they are electing to stay on red side. So they're going to take their success here and try to multiply.
I figured they would probably do that because it just feels like counterpick is so important to them when you are not just picking weird stuff, but you're flexing weird stuff. I really do think that Karthus easily could have ended up mid. They wouldn't have taken, I think, Karthus, Tahm, Kench if it's so telegraphed that you know it's only going bot lane.
I 100% agree. I think Vega right now are the coolest drafting team that I think I've seen in a very long time. If Flash Wolves, I feel like, are the better team fighting team, I think Vega, head and shoulders, way better at drafting. They are much smarter in Champions League.
So for Flash Wolves then, what's the response here? Is it about getting more late game insurance so that if the game extends to 41 minutes like that, hey, we can actually stack up in the 5v5?
Yes, I would love to see some sort of scaling pick. Something like a Ryze, I think, would feel a lot better than a Sylas.
I like Ryze compared to something like a GP where, yes, you scale and you out-team fight, but you're basically saying you run the game and hopefully you don't do such weird stuff that we fall out of it, which is kind of what happened here.
All right, fair enough. Game 2 is right around the corner. We'll see if Flash Wolves can strike back when we return.